Hello. This is a really old tag that I never thought I would do, but for some reason I've been in a really big Taylor Swift mood recently, and I decided I wanted to do this. So here I am. Like I just said, this is a really old tag. So Taylor Swift has actually released another album since the making of this tag. Maybe two. I feel like 1989 also wasn't around when this tag was invented. I added a bunch of questions from the Reputation album, plus one from the 1989 album. Also, just a disclaimer, I'm not going to be singing and dancing to any of these songs. That's not the kind of thing that I do. So, no. The first song is We Are Never Getting Back Together. Usually Taylor Swift songs for me fall into one of three categories. Ones that I liked when I first heard them and then I started not being able to stand them. Ones I couldn't stand at first but then I started to like them. And ones that I just liked from beginning to present and all the time. This is in the third category. I always liked this song and I still do. It's one of my favorite of her songs. The question that goes along with it is a series that you thought you were in love with and then you ended up having to break up with it. The first thing that comes to mind for this is Pseudonymous Bosch's Secret series. I read the first three books and they were amazing, but I realized after finishing the third book that I had serious Christianity issues with it, and I talk about it a lot, so I'm gonna come up with a second one too. The Goosebumps series by R.L. Stine. I've read a good handful of the Goosebumps books, and I used to really like reading them, but Goosebumps books are really kind of hit or miss. Some of them are really good, some of them are extremely boring, and so it wasn't exactly a, breakup thing. It was more of a slowly growing apart thing. The next song is Red, and actually I lied. There are four categories. The fourth one being ones that I don't listen to enough or haven't listened to at all, and so I don't really have much of opinion about them. And this would be one of those. For this one, I just have to find a book with a red cover. Red cover with red in the title. Red cover mostly. Red cover, sort of red cover, red cover. I think that's enough. Next song is The Best Day. This is another one I don't listen to that much. I just listened to it like a while ago and I didn't like it that much, but I feel like it's one of the ones that I don't like that much and then I grow into them. For this one, I have to find a book that makes me feel nostalgic. For that, I'm going with the Your Life But Better series by Crystal Venezuelas. I don't even know why this makes me feel nostalgic. I don't have any, emotional attachment to, the happenings while I was reading this. The first time I read this, it gave me nostalgia. I don't know how or why, but it did, which is kind of weird. The next song is Love Story, which is another one that I don't listen to enough to have an opinion on. For this book, I'm supposed to find a book with forbidden love in it, and this is one of the reasons that I didn't think I would ever do this tag. It has a lot of girly questions like this. This is kinda like that, but this feels more like a friendship to me. This one was sort of forbidden. Sort of. The next one is I Knew You Were Trouble. This is one of the ones that I liked at first and then kind of disliked after a while, but now I like it again, so... Remember what I was saying about the girly questions? For this one, you're supposed to find a bad boy character that you like even though you know you shouldn't. Girls that talk about bad boys and like bad boys really get on my nerves. You know how you're watching a horror movie and the guy starts going down in the basement and you yell at him because he shouldn't do that? That's how I feel about girls that like bad boys. Times 10. So... I don't have an answer to this question. The next song is Innocent, which I don't think I've actually ever listened to. Why am I doing this tag? For this one, I'm supposed to find a book that I got spoiled for. Luckily, I can't think of many books I've got spoilers for that I care about and actually want to read, but I can think of two. I've gotten some names of people who die in Harry Potter, and when people spoil Harry Potter on BookTube, they usually give the excuse that you should have read it already, and that's true, but I'm only 16, I'm a younger person, so I haven't really had that much time to read it. I feel like I should get a coupon for that or something. I also know how the love triangle in the Hunger Games turns out, but I don't care about that one quite as much. The next song is Everything Has Changed. This is another one I haven't listened to. I don't go back and listen to her really old ones. I listen to the last few records she's had. I should have probably at at least gone through and listened to the ones I haven't on this tag before filming this, but it's too late now. For this, I'm supposed to pick a character who goes through major character development. And how can I not go with Ebenezer Scrooge? Seriously, he's like a completely 100% different person in every humanly possible way by the end. Which is impressive considering it's such a small amount of time that it happens in. How can I not go with this? The next song is You Belong With Me, and this one I have listened to a decent amount of times. It's one of the ones that I started out liking, but then kind of stopped. I still like the chorus, but not the rest of the song. For this one, I'm supposed to come up with a really anticipated release. And the answer is I don't have one. I don't stay like super up to date with the book world. I'm not reading all of the currently in progress series or reading all the newly released books like a lot of booktubers are. I mean, I do read some if they interest me, like Scythe. That's a series that's still in development, so I guess I'm excited for the third book, even though I haven't read the second book yet. I want Ingrid Law's next book. I don't know what it is or if it's even announced or anything, but when she writes another book, I want that. Next is Forever and Always, another one that I haven't listened to. Are you noticing a pattern? This is another one of the more girly questions, and it is to find your favorite book couple. I like Penhaligon and Rowan. I also like Anne and Gregory, Garrett, George, Gilbert. That's it. I don't usually get very interested in the romance. I liked the one in this too. I forgot their names, but I liked the one in this. The next song is Come Back, Be Here. And guess what? I haven't listened to that one. Big surprise. For this one, I have to find the book that is least likely for me to lend out. I feel like I've gotten a lot better about lending out my books recently, but there are a few books that I'd be especially upset about getting messed up, and I think they fall in one of three categories. The first one is signed books that I really care about. I have a few books that are kind of signed because it like came in a subscription box or something, and I don't care about those as much. But my favorite books that are signed, these books right here, the Savvy trilogy. Each one of these books are signed and personalized to me by the author. I went to see her talk and I got them all signed by her. I didn't buy them signed. So anyone wanting to borrow these books from me, no. The second type of book I'm most likely not going to lend out is my antique books. These would also be really hard to replace. I really like having antique books in my collection, even though I don't often read them because I'm scared to. And I mean, if I don't trust myself to read them, why would I trust someone else to read them? And thirdly, I'm not very likely to lend out my fancy Barnes & Noble classics. These are replaceable, but the person that I'm lending them to needs to swear to replace them if they mess them up. Next is Teardrops on My Guitar. I don't remember this one well enough to have an opinion. For this one, I'm supposed to find a book that made me cry, which is extremely rare, and when I say extremely rare, I mean it never happens, ever. I've never had a book make me cry like tears. That's how crying works. I can name one book that made me teary-eyed, but I don't count that as crying. I'm gonna show it anyway. Coraline by Neil Gaiman, because apparently children's horror is what tugs at my heartstrings. This is a very weird one to choose for a book that made me cry, but if you've read this, you know the scene where she's telling the story about her and her dad. That's the part. The next song is Shake It Off, a book you really like, but it has a lot of haters. For this one, I'm going with Harry Potter. I don't know, actually. I can think of a lot of books that I like that aren't popular and that aren't very well known, but I don't think I have any books that I like that a lot of people hate. The Magic Tree House series. A lot of moms push this off because they say the grammar in it isn't very good, but this series is what got me into reading, and now I read Charles Dickens, and I write novels, and I have a whole YouTube channel dedicated to books. So just read it to your children, or else bad things will happen. I don't know. And I forgot to say this, but Shake It Off is one of the ones that I liked and still like. The next song is Stay, Stay, Stay. This would be one of the ones that I liked at first and then quickly didn't like anymore. A book you wish could keep going forever. Penhaligon Brush. I wish this would go on forever. I could just continue to read about these characters' lives forever and never read anything else. That might be an exaggeration, but I would really enjoy having this as like a long series instead of one book. Is there any others? Alice in Wonderland. I wish Alice in Wonderland was like a very long book. I want more of Wonderland. The next one is All Too Well. For this one, you're supposed to pick a series that you wish was longer. This sounds oddly like the last question. And also, I don't see how it fits with the song, but if I knew the song and had listened to it, I probably would know how it connects. I'm kind of scared to say that I want a series to be longer, because everyone said they wanted J.K. Rowling to write another Harry Potter book, and we got The Cursed Child, which everyone didn't like. And I actually kind of like it when series end, because that's one less thing you're dedicated to in the bookish world. You know, I'm having a hard time just coming up with series that I've read all of the books. Can I just say Penhaligon again? And Alice in Wonderland? I would just love for Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass to just be the first two books in a very, very long series. That was all the questions in the original tag so far. I think there were a few that were added by other people, but from this point onward, we're doing questions that I came up with. So here comes all the Reputation songs. The first one is Gorgeous. This is one that I started out not liking and then kind of liked a little bit more. I still don't love it, but I like it more than I did when I first heard it. For this one, I'm supposed to find a book that has a really pretty cover, but I didn't like the actual story. Passenger by Alexander Bracken. This cover is just amazingness everywhere and everything. It's nice sized, it feels good in my hands. The cover is like one of the most amazing covers I've ever seen, which makes me really sad because I hated this book. It was way too romancy. This next one's actually not a Reputation song, but it's one that I think deserves to be on this tag. Bad Blood. This is one of the ones that I like and have always liked and still like. For this one, I want to say an author that I don't want to support, and for me that would be Lemony Snicket. I don't want to support him because he supports a lot of things that I don't like, financially too. He gave a lot of money to a thing that I didn't like, and so I try not to buy his books because then I'd be financially supporting him, and so I'm kind of indirectly financially supporting the things he supports, which I don't support, so that was very rambly. The next song is the iconic Look What You Made Me Do, which is one of the ones that I like all around. For this one, you're supposed to find a popular book or a book you were pressured into reading that you hated or didn't like. This one's actually kind of hard for me because I don't easily give in to peer pressure. I got Passenger in the early days of my booktube finding, and this is the book everyone was talking about then, but like even then it sounded interesting to me, but I still really didn't like it. This is also a mediocrely popular book. Side Effects May Vary by Julie Murphy. This book was terrible. It was awful. It just had all the problems and doesn't deserve life. The next song is Don't Blame Me. This is one of the ones that I started out not really liking that much, but I really like it now. The question for this is actually the exact opposite of the last one, and that is a book you made someone read, but they really didn't like it. For me, I'm going with Love, Sugar, Magic by... what's your name? Anna Muriano. I don't think I've ever looked at her name before. Me and two of my friends decided to do one of those buddy reads where you each pick out a book and then read it and annotate it and then revolve around with the same annotated copy. This is the one I picked out because it looked interesting to me and I really enjoyed it, but when I passed it on to her, she did not enjoy it. She did not even get past the first few chapters because she hated it so much, and it's actually like an inside joke between us now because the writing in it was really bad. The next song is I Did Something Bad, which is one of my favorite on the Reputation album because the song is so fun and everything, and it really annoys me that it has the S word in it because now I can't like listen to it on a repeated loop like I want to. But anyway, the question for it is a book that you really enjoyed even though you disagreed with something in it. Themes or the morals or the religious stuff or the politics, whatever. For me, I'm going with Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley. I didn't approve of some of the more adult content in this book. I didn't like the bad language, and it was very okay with sex outside of marriage, and I had a bunch of other Christianity issues with it, but I still really, really enjoyed it. It was a really, really good book, but I don't recommend it because, like I just said, it has issues. The final one is This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things, which is one that I liked and still like. For this one, you're supposed to pick out a character that really annoyed you. I really didn't didn't like Prince Jeffrey from The Rat Prince. He was annoying and he did something in this book that just made me very, very mad. So mad that I couldn't even finish the book. So, yeah. However, he is the villain, and I feel like this question implies that it should be a main character, and I should know what it implies because I came up with it, but whatever. I'm also going to say Toby from The Chimes by Charles Dickens. He was annoying. He was annoyingly negative. That's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to do like my 2.0 reputation version of this tag, then you can go ahead and do it. I also just realized that I didn't check to make sure someone else didn't do a reputation version of this tag. So if this already exists, I'm sorry. I made my own version of it. But that's everything I'm talking about today. Bye. Rah. That was weak. Let me try that again. Bye. That was better.